Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and I'm finally getting around to taking a closer look at the LTT Screwdriver. It's well, kind of a unique take on the screwdriver world. It's a one-off by a tech company, basically, LTT or Linus Tech Tips, that runs a YouTube channel that has been producing videos related to anything and everything technology, and they decided that they could make the screwdriver better. Now imagine if somebody had said, well, hey, what about the slip joint plier? Why couldn't I make that better? I mean, there's a lot of room for improvement, right? And we probably would have said, yeah, right, Well, and then the Knipex Twin Grip comes out, and we're all, excited. Boy, they really took this to the next level. So I agree there is room, especially given all of the different ways the companies are approaching what essentially is a standard-sized ratcheting screwdriver. So basically, LTT had some ideas. They had some things that they thought were important that they wanted to integrate into the screwdriver, and then they needed a United States manufacturer, so they got MegaPro. And I reviewed a MegaPro screwdriver earlier. I just didn't like the feel of it. They do have a lot of capabilities as far as manufacturing for texturing, colors, etc. Because of the material that they're using. LTT chose to go with that. It allowed a U.S. manufacturing and somewhat affordable. Now, I might be the only one who says this is an affordable screwdriver. It's pushing 65, 70 bucks. However, in the world of ratcheting screwdrivers, that's not expensive. That's up there, but Snap-on, which is a classic, and they make a couple of different versions of these things, easily exceeds that. PB Swiss easily exceeds that. And getting up in around the $65, $75 range, that's completely understandable. You can get them for less. You can get an overseas manufacturer that makes this Klein. It's a little bit heavy, larger screwdriver, somewhat less common bits, but you can get these for around $20. You can get into the Veras and the $30. In fact, one of my favorites is this Vessel in the upper 20s. It's ratcheting, a little harder to turn, but a nice streamlined design, excellent lockup. We'll get there. So let's take a closer look here. What we've got is a standard size screwdriver. Now, they're by standard sized, I'm saying it is about twice the palm width. That's what I'm working with, or the palm, my hand fits around the handle with no more, no less. Some screwdrivers are a little bit smaller, like the Vera. My hand can completely engulf that. Others, like the Snap-on, are much larger, and no matter how I grab it, there's still plenty of extra room sticking out on one end. PB Swiss, this is probably my favorite size. Actually, these two here are ratcheting screwdrivers. They're great. I like it. Fits great in the hand. No extra, but it's not a minimum. This is a little bit harder to clean, gathers dirt, but I want it for driving screws, not necessarily to sit on a shelf and look cool. As far as the ratcheting mechanism, well, where'd that thing go here? There it is. They wanted a particular size. They wanted something that had extremely low back drag. They reversed this from the MegaPro design. MegaPro, if you rotated it to the left, it would ratchet to the right. Or excuse me, it would tighten to the right. If you rotated it to the right, it would tighten to the left. What they did is if you turn it to the right, it tightens to the right. And that's my preference. That's also what Snap-on does. Most of the others are the opposite, and I don't know why that is. I don't know what the benefit is, but generally, my intuition is turn it that way to screw in that way. Turn it that way to screw that way, to screw it out. So I appreciate they did that. It's also smaller, easier to grab hold of. The Snap-on by far is the easiest, so much so that I often flip this around and I have to stop what I'm doing and figure out where it is and adjust it. Some of the others, this bloated Klein that I'm glad is not their only choice. This is hard to turn here. The Vessel's a little bit hard to turn. The Vera, very easy to turn, but a huge amount of slop in the mechanism. Look at that. That is just crazy. So back here, we've got bit storage in the back. They have room for many of these smaller bits. They're less common, but because these line up, you can pop something out and you could put a larger bit in there without any trouble. So get fewer bits in there, but you can do it. This is very similar to the standard Mega Pro design where they've got bit storage. As far as the price, a Mega Pro with the ratcheting mechanism is about 38 bucks. This is about 65. So it's coming out of the same factory, but obviously the product run is a little bit smaller and it's a unique design. As far as the feel of the operation, back drag is very low. In fact, I can test that out and compare it. Compare it here to the Vera first of all. So I've got a quarter here, and reverse that. So as you can see, this is rotating. The knurling is not rotating. So in order to rotate this, oops, back that, there we go. In order to rotate that, if I would have to grab it. So obviously that's what's going on there. I can't compare the magnetic strength with the Vera because it doesn't work that way. If I put it here, reverse that, so there, you can see that one also is much lower and stronger than the Vessel. If I go to the snap-on, line that up. Okay, so you can see there, it's also much less back drag and a stronger magnet. This was interesting. Obviously, PB Swiss, to me, has one of the greatest back drags of any of these ratcheting screwdrivers. There is a ton of back drag. It has a solid lockup. Once it locks, get that lined up. This one's being a pill right now here. There we go. Lock up when it's aligned, nothing. I mean, it is rock solid. Vessel also is a rock solid lockup. Look at that. Nothing. Snap-on, marginal, but it's got a removable shaft, so that's expected. The Klein, little bit there. The Vera is probably by far the worst. If I line that up, look at all that slop there. But when I line this one up, there is some play. Okay, that tells me right away, is there room for improvement? Yes, it's possible. Back drag, this wins. However, magnetic strength, let's throw that on a PB Swiss. PB Swiss wins every single time. So the PB Swiss magnet is stronger. So if they want to go with a stronger magnet, there's room there. In fact, even these PB Swiss, these here, still clobber it. Just yank it right out. So it is the strongest, except for the PB Swiss. As far as the material, I don't like the feel of it. It's very slippery. It's hard plastic. That's probably a function because Mega Pro uses that material, and that's what you get. It's not the end of the world, but I think there's room for improvement there. As far as the knurling, this is probably some of the roughest knurling I've felt. Way rougher than the Snap-on. That one's pretty worn there. But you don't need a ton of it, but that's kind of nice. If you're going to knurl something, knurl it. Don't have this kind of sloppy, soft knurling. There's no real reason for that, since you're going to have to clean it anyway because it gets dirty, as you can see. You know, like with that Snap-on. As far as the proportions, very nice. It uses kind of a standard Instinct handle. By the way, the standard number 2 Phillips Snap-on sells for 28 bucks or something like that. Almost 30 bucks. About half of what one of these sells for, but doesn't have any of the moving parts or extra bits or anything. So again, that's why I say it's not out of range as far as price. It's right in there. The tri-lobe design, I do like that. It fits nicely in the hand, and generally if you're not ratcheting or you are just doing the rotation, that 1/3 of a circle is totally normal. You don't have to go all the way around. Some of them You know, even though this is round, it's got a lot of indexing points, whereas others, let's see, like the Mira, are just perfectly symmetrical all the way around. I kind of like having a little bit more of a way to grab, you know, that extra little bump there. Color, I wish they had more colors. Mega Pro has tons of colors and textures, so there's plenty of room that they could add textures and colors to this, especially given that these two colors don't even match here, and this is their most colorful one with a chrome shaft versus black and orange highlights. As far as the bits, they use a shorter bit. I think they could have bought themselves an extra 1/4 inch out of this design, and that would allow you to drop one of the full-size bits in here, which unfortunately you can't, which is too bad, because sometimes these smaller bits are not available in the size that that fits in here if you want to fully maximize the number of bits in the storage. It is possible to move this around. This is kind of interesting. So there's an option for something there. I'm not sure exactly what. If they line up, you can throw a long bit right down the center. So it's not the end of the world. As far as the overall operation of this thing, very smooth. I like this. I like the precision, the nice solid clicking. I like that it rotates in the direction of tightening. I like that the lockup is fairly solid. It's not easy to flip this, whereas some of the others are. The bumps basically in the handle keep it from rolling off the table. It's a great screwdriver. You know, they did a good job with it. It's got a lot of potential still, but in fact, I don't think it's that expensive for what you're getting, and it definitely is in there, and about the only thing you can compare it with head-to-head is a Snap-on. So that's not a bad entry point for a brand new screwdriver company. Anyway, there it is, the LTT Screwdriver in all its glory. I'll come back to this when I get more hands-on actually driving screws. This little spinning cap on the end, I don't know. I haven't had any trouble with these. I think that's more important with very small stuff, but I'd rather have it than not have it, as long as the actual mechanism can hold the stress. And I can see some options if they wanted to have a replaceable shaft. There's plenty of room to go with maybe a 4mm, although you can use, like here's a Weehaw 4mm converter that I'll get around to, that I can use on a drill, or a Snap-on one, because a lot of times in the tech industry you're using tiny bits. Anyway, there it is. Let me know what you think. If you've got other questions, I can revisit this, get that focus here, revisit this, and have more fun with it. Why is that not focusing? There we go. LTT. And with that, Doc out.